This is Wayne S. Pierce for the American Liberty Radio Network. This is the 18th of April, 2017. Lots of things going down, lots of things happening, lots of things just seriously causing people to feel as if they are, causing people to feel as if they're uneasy or having that sense of almost a slight, if you will, if there is any such thing as slight paranoia. It is what it is. I don't think that there's a really good explanation for that feeling, for that sense, but I do know that at times, and I see this in some of the posts on Facebook as well, but at times I feel as if something is just around the corner. Is it fear? Is it paranoia? Is it emotional something or other? I don't know. I mean, there's no clear-cut answer for it, and I know I'd like to have the answers, but there is no clear-cut answer for anything at this point. Now, just a show note, a little mini podcast for you today, that it is 1900, as far as the time is concerned, 1900, for those military people out there. I didn't have any intro music because I'm on my phone. I connected an external microphone to my cell phone, and I'm using the Spreaker Studio app. And please let me know how that sounds, if I'm sounding any different than if I was sitting in my studio and doing it from the microphone and all of that there. So that's what I'm doing right now. But I wanted to share with you this. There's a lot of things, an update about the person, Steve Stevens, who literally on a video killed someone and said on the video that he had killed, 12 or 15 other people. He was found in Pennsylvania by the Pennsylvania Police Department, Erie, Pennsylvania. And he basically took himself out. He took the coward's way out. He wasn't going to take responsibility for anything. The police and the officials only know of that one murder that was on Facebook Live, or apparently it was live. So that's one of the updates. The other update I have is there's so many things that we see, that we understand, that we know. But when you look at people, well, let me just plainly say it. When you look at the propagandist media out there, the mainstream media, the ABC, CBS, NBC, all those folks, what is the one thing that you as a consumer, an information consumer, what do you want? You want, if you're anything like me, you want the truth and the facts. You don't want someone pussyfooting around and giving you some kind of spin on a story. No, you want the truth and the facts. You don't want people to sit there and say, in our next segment coming up, we will talk about, and then you think it's a big story, but then they dilute the basic meat of the story when they finally get to it. So you don't want that. I said there was another update, and it's not an update, it's more of a conversation. It's more of an idea, concept, an encouragement. American Liberty Radio wouldn't exist, number one, if there wasn't enough information out there to share with you as to what's going on behind the curtain, who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. American Liberty Radio wouldn't exist if it wasn't for a passion I have to getting that information out. And American Liberty Radio wouldn't exist without people like you listening and sharing and liking and commenting. So, number one, thank you. Thank you very much, because if it wasn't for you, I don't think I would be heard in the various countries that I'm heard in. American Liberty Radio is heard in various countries: Mexico, Japan, Brazil, Belgium, Germany, I think. I have seen the statistics that showed that I was heard in China. So it's all over the world. American Liberty Radio Network is literally a network built upon the principles of American freedom, American liberty, and American ideology. Without political influence, without somebody standing behind me, shoving papers in my face telling me what to say. On my shows, when I'm in my studio, I'm away from the studio right now, but when I'm in the studio, it's teleprompter free, it's script free. I tell you what's on my mind. I give you the news as I see it. And American Liberty Radio Network is just that. As the tagline for the network is, sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS. And that's true. Yeah, I look at NBC, CBS, and I want to see what they're saying. It's like sitting in your coach's room watching the films of your football game, that you're part of the team and you're seeing what's going on with the visitor team, with the opposite team. You're seeing how their strategies are. You're seeing how they're passing the ball. You're looking at every little thing that they're doing. That way, when you meet them again, you know exactly what to do. But don't ever sit back and think that's all you're doing, because the opposite team is also doing that to you. Now, how do we stay ahead of all this? How do we stay ahead of all this? Easy. We do what comes natural. What comes natural is to go out and find the answers. Go out and do what needs to be done. Go out and push forward into life and see what's going on and experience what's going on. This is something that literally I've done for most of my adult life. Life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to be learned from. And the one thing that I've learned is there's a lot of crazy people out there. I mean, we're talking literally strap a straitjacket around them, shove them into a padded cell, because they are completely and utterly nuts. And that's my unprofessional medical opinion. But the fact of the matter is that there are so many things going on in life. There are so many things that are out there. There are so many things that are being said and heard and felt and discussed. My question is, who's right? Who's wrong? Who laid the information down to prove their side of what they're talking about? You see, on American Liberty Radio Network, specifically American Liberty Radio Podcast, or the live show, The Truth Experience, I read you the articles, or part of them, and I tell you to go to the Facebook page of the show and read the rest of it. I encourage you to go out and look this stuff up. It's not that difficult, folks. It's not that difficult, okay? But here's the thing. A lot of people don't want to know the truth, to know the facts. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to know that don't want to have their personal paradigm ripped to pieces because they have to accept what's going on around them. In other words, they'd rather stay within the matrix. They'd rather stay in that tube hooked up to all those wires and all those life-sustaining things, and be shown a virtual world that you live in. Now, that's what those people want. Me, I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I not only want to know what's going on behind the scenes, I want to know who's doing it. Now, I know that some people say, well, you don't want to get too deep. You'll wind up like, Michael Hastings or Breitbart or, I'm not afraid. Because, folks, without Andrew Breitbart, without Michael Hastings, without, people like that, there's still other people out there telling the truth, blowing the whistle. Now we have Julian Assange in the last several years. Now we have Edward Snowden in the last couple of years. We have a lot of people coming out and blowing the whistle on the government and blowing the whistle on who's actually running things. And the thing is that it's all true. All of it. It's all true. Am I just some puppet up here? Am I some performance artist? Am I a person hanging out just saying what's on my mind? Well, essentially, yes, but I'm giving you information that you can go look up. Have I said anything that wasn't true? I don't know, you tell me. Have I talked about certain things myself as well as Nick Tucker at Distorted Reality? Have we talked about, have I talked about, has he talked about anything that you cannot verify to be fact? Have we talked about it? If we're talking about it and if we put it on our podcast, chances are, there's a good 99.9% of the chance that it is going to be true. 99.9% of the time, it is going to be true. Whatever we tell you is going to be accurate and factual. I don't know about Nick Tucker at Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. I can't speak for him, but I know for me, I'd be the first in line to admit when I overlooked something. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong. It just means I overlooked something. Let's check it out. What did I miss? So, American Liberty Radio Network is right here for you. It takes you into consideration as far as you wanting information. I know you can go elsewhere. I've seen a lot of titles for different shows and heard a couple of them on Spreaker.com and other networks, and I can tell you this much. Calling it spin would be an understatement. Calling what they do spin or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it, I mean, that they're pretty much in the dark as to who's behind the curtain pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. American Liberty Radio Network, sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS, is exactly how I built this network. And without you listening, and without the 16,000 plus followers I have, I don't think it's difficult for what I talk about to get to the people that want to hear it. But see, folks, I can't do it without you. You like the show, you share the show, I appreciate that, thank you. But it's not going to stay on air with the resources I have. I hate to say this because I never, ever, ever, ever am one to go hat in hand to people. I'm telling you that right now. But if you go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com, go to the sponsors page, and become a patron, you can help this network stay on the air. You can help me keep the lights on in the studio, as I like to say. Go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com, go to the sponsors page, become a patron. What you contribute to this network will help me get more information out to a larger crowd, larger than what I have already. Well, geez, how much larger than the world can you go? There's other people that need to hear it here, right here on this planet, and specifically right here in the United States of America, more specifically right here in Billings, Montana. That's where I broadcast from. I'm out of the studio right now. I had to do some things and had to take care of a few other things that I do. Well, if you so choose, and if you like American Liberty Radio Network, and if you enjoy listening to facts instead of the propagandist BS on the main networks, consider dropping $1 in the kitty. Let's keep this show rolling, folks. Let's keep people in the loop. I don't want to have somebody come to me and say, well, you never told me. I'm going to look back at them and say, have you heard my live shows or my broadcasts? I think I've said a lot. But the fact of the matter is, folks, it's getting down to the wire. North Korea is threatening to, well, they've threatened, yes, but their test missile blew up. So I don't know how credible their threats are. I know China is pointing their finger at North Korea and saying, little man, you ain't doing that. I know Russia's kind of standing behind us going, you really want to do this? Russia standing behind us is not them supporting us in what we want to do towards North Korea. They're pretty much standing there, out of the way of the fragments of the political grenades we're going to drop on North Korea. And I think Russia has a good point. Do we really want to do this? And I think along the way, we have to understand that what's happening right now in 2017 between Russia and China and the U.S. and North Korea and other little smaller countries, I think we're virtually in a political powder keg right now. And we're about ready, something is about ready to blow up. And the United States is just about at the brink. And there's a lot of things going on. I just saw an article today about the federal government wanting women to register for the draft. Now, wait a minute. I didn't think we had a draft. But there was an article with a headline. If I remember correctly, it was, the government wants women to register in 2018. I'm going to say for selective service. But it's basically for the draft. If there's a draft, that will happen. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month. I have no idea. But if things continue the way they are, I'm sure we're going to be dropped right into World War III. I really don't want to see that. But I really don't want to see that. But if things continue, I think that's what might happen. Folks, I'm going to get out of here. I spent too much time. Well, I say that, and it's a figure of speech. Let me close out by saying this. You guys are very, very important. You guys, I will take the next 2.5 hours to talk to you about what's going on if I have to. And then I'll stop and do it again. But I got things to do, folks. There's things I do outside of the studio. There are things that I do other than being in the studio. I've got some editing to do. I've got some other things to write. I've got, just a whole bunch of stuff to do. And, well, I'm the only one doing it. So again, folks, if you consider contributing to American Liberty Radio Network, go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com and go to the sponsors page and become a patron. Drop $1 in the kitty to keep the lights on around here. The yearly fee for the website is coming up, so if you guys can help me keep that up and going, you guys rock. I appreciate that very, very much. So, folks, I will be here tomorrow on the American Liberty Radio Network podcast, so stay tuned for more. Because I'll tell you what, as I say it all the time, things change every 5 minutes. And, it's in the next 24 hours, who knows what's going to happen. Folks, this is American Liberty Radio Network. American Liberty Radio on Spreaker.com, at American Liberty Radio on Gab.ai, and on American Liberty Radio Podcasts on Facebook. This is American Liberty Radio Network, sharing the truth one fact at a time, without all the BS.